Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. Today I'm going to discuss to you about Singapore, their criminal justice system, and their policing system, and so on. But before that, let me give you an idea about Singapore, their short history. Short history of Singapore. Singapore is a city-state and island country in maritime Southeast Asia, located at the end of the Malayan Peninsula between Malaysia and Indonesia, as well as the Straits of Malacca and the South China Sea. Singapore was colonized by British country in 1819. Singapore is a city nation with a population of 2.6 million, once known as Temasek, which means lake or sea. Temasek is the old name of Singapore. It was called Temasek because it was surrounded by the sea. Next is Prince Sang Nila Utama, a prince of Srivijaya Empire, and he called Singapore as Lion City when he arrived at the island. That island, he encountered a creature that he believed to be a lion, kaya tinawag niyang Singapura. And yung sikat na tourist spot sa kanilang bansa is yung lion statue na sa kanilang bansa is Stamford Raffles. During his time, the word Singapura changed into Singapore. Kung bakit napalitan yung Singapura into Singapore because Stamford Raffles is a British man and an English speaking, and so he adapt the English spelling. That's why Singapore changed into Singapore. And Stamford Raffles is a founder of Port City of Singapore in 1819, wherein I'm going to discuss to you the port city on the next slide. He was born on July 6, 1781 and died on July 5, 1826 at London due to his illness of uh, namatay siya because of a stroke daw, according to my research. Next is Port City is a site trading system for the maritime activities, and this affects the economic growth of Singapore. Port City is a trading system. Ito yung kung saan sila nagta-transport ng goods and products, and maraming different vessels from other country ang nagta-transport and import ng kanilang products dito sa Port City. And ang Port City is ito yung dahilan kung bakit lumalago yung bansa na yun, yung Singapore. Let's now proceed in their flag of Singapore. Their signs and symbols. So, yung red symbols, yung red dun sa kanilang flag is represents the universal brotherhood and equality. Yung white naman is a purity and virtue. Yung crescent is yung parang hugis buwan, half moon, is represents a young nation growing and prospering. While the five star symbolizes the democracy, peace, prosperity, justice, and equality. Yan po ang kanilang flag. Next is, so let's now proceed in Singapore Police Force. It is the national and principal law enforcement agency responsible for the prevention of crime and law enforcement in the Republic of Singapore. This agency are against in the organized crimes, human and weapon trafficking, cyber crimes, as well as the economic crimes that goes across domestic and international borders. It is the main agency and tasked with the maintaining law and order in the city-states and formerly known as the Republic of Singapore Police. This is their logo, Republic Police Singapura. And next slide is this slide is their vision and mission. Their vision is to prevent, deter, and detect crimes for a better community. Mission, a force for the nation to make Singapore the safest place in the world. So now proceed in a criminal justice system. They are under a British common law system since they adapt the British common law system, since they are colonized by the British country led by Stamford Raffles, the founder of Port City. And kung dito sa Pilipinas, meron tayong 5 pillars, the law enforcement, prosecution, courts, and correction, and the community. Sa kanila naman is they have law enforcement. The law enforcement, this pillar is responsible for maintaining public safety, preventing crimes, and investigating offenses. Their prosecution, evaluating evidence, deciding whether to pursue charges, and conducting trials and managing appeals. Their judiciary, or kung sa atin is courts. This judiciary interprets and applies the law impartially. It comprises various levels of court, including the Supreme Court and state of courts. Dito sa atin is we have the highest court, which is the Supreme Court, and the lowest court in the Philippines is the MTC, or the Municipal Trial Court. In Singapore they have the State's Court. Next, corrections. This pillar is responsible for the rehabilitation and reintegration of offenders. The Singapore Prison Services manage correction facilities and oversees rehabilitation programs. The Singapore prison named as Changi Prison, or Changi means to bend, and the legal aid and representation, ensuring access to justice for all individuals, including those who cannot afford legal representation. This means ito yung parang making sure everyone, regardless on their income, if they are poor, they just need a fair chance to defend themselves in courts. And next is the community engagement and prevention. Engaging the community to prevent crimes and promote public safety through initiative that foster collaboration between law enforcement and the public. Let's go in the policing system. The law enforcement called the Singapore Police Force, responsible for the prevention of crime and law enforcement in the Republic of Singapore. It is the country's lead agency against organized crime, human and weapon trafficking, cybercrime, as well as economic crimes that goes across domestic and international borders, but can be tasked to investigate any crime under purview of the Ministry of Human Affairs and is accountable to the Parliament of Singapore. And since Singapore is a centralized, so the SPF is directly under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So the SPF prioritizes maintaining law and order, and with the emphasis on advanced technology and intelligence gathering. And next is I. So Singapore is a parliamentary republic, a city-state with a governing structure patterned on the British system of parliamentary government. Executive power lies with the Prime Minister and his cabinet, who direct and control the government and is responsible for the parliamentary. It is the main agency task. SPF is the main agency tasked with maintaining law and order in the city-states, and the was formerly known as the Republic of Singapore Police, or the RSP. Today, SPF is an efficient and well-equipped body of professionals in pursuit of continuous improvement and world-class excellence. The force is critical in maintaining the reputation of Singapore as a safe city with one of the lowest crimes in the world. Next is their rank insignia. So the rank insignia is Their lowest is the police constable or constable, and their highest rank is the commissioner or the commissioner of police.